The account that I'm mentioning in the description proposed that we share our story with scoliosis, and since my story with scoliosis is complicated and it would be too long to type, I decided to do that video because I don't think that I've shared that story in English and on TikTok. I know that I have done that in French and on YouTube, but not on TikTok and not in English. So basically, when I was 3.5 years old, when I was to my main doctor for kids, pediatrician, I believe we pronounce in English, something was wrong to his eyes and he decided to make me do some extra exams. We didn't know back then what it was exactly, why they wanted to do radiography. We didn't understand anything. And basically it was my dad's birthday and the hospital called like, you have to come immediately with your child at the hospital, like immediately. Big stress. So I went to the hospital and they said that child has a 36 degrees scoliosis that is going right to the heart. We have to put them in a orthopedic corset. My dad had a corset once in his life due to an accident. And my dad, basically, when a doctor or someone of authority asked something, he said no, basically, like, no, I want to know what will happen if we don't put Corey in a corset. The doctor said, Corey will die. So I went into a corset. I will put a picture of me. It wasn't my first one. So my first one, I was 3.5 years old. The picture is not my first one, but I think I'm funny with my hands like a little dinosaur. So yeah, at that age, I started to wear 24/7 orthopedic corset. I was just allowed to put it off when I had to wash myself, basically. And then later in life, it was only for the night that I had to wear it. It was depending. Sometimes my scoliosis was unmanaged again, so I had to wear the corset 24/7 again. And sometimes it was only for the night that I had to wear it. And basically I was told by anyone, doctors, parents, anyone, that if I wear my brace, my orthopedic brace correctly, I wouldn't have to go through surgery. Now, that didn't end like I expected. So after in life, the corset, the orthopedic corset that you saw the picture of is called Milwaukee. And after I had this bad boy, that's the last one that I had when I was 15, I believe. So this one is called Chenot. So yeah, so I had two different kind of braces. Of course, they updated them every time I was growing. Like this one didn't had that before, but since I took a bit of weight and I was growing, they adapted because basically the correction was still in the same places. But at the age of 15, when I went to my doctor saying, hey, I have awful like pain in my legs. I didn't really suffer from pain. From time to time I was suffering from pain, but mostly it was when I was wearing my bag from school because they had a lot of stuff in it. It was contextual pain. I didn't have chronic pain back then. And that's something that I learned later in life, that a lot of people who had scoliosis suffered a lot because of those scoliosis. I didn't. Now, I believe that the reason why I didn't suffer that much was because I was in a brace, basically, since I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but we didn't knew that back then. It's the end of the story, basically. But I went to the doctor saying, I have awful leg pain. What's going on? And the doctor said, yeah, you have a scoliosis. So basically your hips are uneven. So basically when you walk, when you run, one leg is doing too much of the job because they're uneven, so that's why you suffer from your pain. You have to go through back surgery for your scoliosis. That will like solve all your problem with your legs. Spoiler alert, it didn't because that the scoliosis was not a problem, but I didn't know back then. I didn't know back then. So I had to go through surgery. So a date was planned, but my dad, being my dad, cancelled the surgery without telling my mom and I, because we weren't living with him anymore. So when it was 1 month before the surgery pre-programmed date, my mom called like, hey, we have no news of anyone, what's going on? And basically the secretary said, yeah, I can see that Mr. Corey's dad has cancelled the surgery. So we had to go to the surgeon again with my dad. This time that I invite him for the first appointment, he didn't show, but this one he came. So basically I was, if the doctor said that it will help me, I trust the doctor, I will do it. And I was 15 back then, so at that point I didn't really had any contact with my dad, but I was, I'm an adult. I wasn't, but I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want with my life. And so I did the surgery. The second time that the date was supposed to happen, it was cancelled again because one of the neurosurgeon who had to be there died in a plane crash. So it was postponed for 1 week. So basically for me now, retrospectively, I see that like big sign, don't do the surgery, don't do the surgery. Now I don't want to scare people who have to go through surgery. I've read a lot of stories since I had my surgery. I think I'm not a common case. So don't take my story to be scared. Do your research and talk about your concern with your doctor, because I've read a lot of story. I've had a lot of story of people going through surgery and all the problems were gone. They live their best life now. I didn't. Going through surgery made me have the start of the chronic pain. I started to subluxed some vertebrae and ribs, and the doctors were gaslighting me, saying that I was lying, that it was an anxiety, that the physiotherapist that was saying the same things that I was saying, because he was saying that on our appointment, was gaslit too. And basically I was abandoned by the surgeon. And it was way later in life that I've learned that actually I have a genetic condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and probably the surgery triggered the big symptoms of Ehlers-Danlos, even though I had some symptoms even as a child who were pretty significant. Back then we didn't know, and it's genetic, so yeah, all the family has it. How fun. About the scoliosis, my sister also has a scoliosis, but she didn't have to wear a brace. She didn't have to go through surgery. And when she was a teen, that's when the scoliosis like really was intense for her. And apparently it's misplaced. And the way that it is, that's the reason why she suffers so much from pain and gastrointestinal issues, which I didn't have. Even though my scoliosis is like, oh my gosh, 36 degrees, 40 degrees, I believe even 42 degrees. When I had the surgery, all the doctors were making a big deal of that, but I didn't suffer back then. And my sister, who has a way minor scoliosis than me, suffers a lot. So yeah, scoliosis is a more complicated subject that I always thought it was. I don't see that many people wearing braces for scoliosis anymore. And I don't think a lot of people who had bad scoliosis like mine didn't suffer before the surgery and suffered after the surgery. So that's why I'm sharing my story. But everyone is different, so talk to your doctor about your concern and good luck.